What if I told you that one ordinary man, with no money, no powerful family, no military rank, and no real education, managed to convince an entire nation to follow him, even when that path led straight to destruction? He didn't rise with weapons. He didn't begin with force. He rose with words. Millions believed him. Millions followed him. And tens of millions paid the price. This is not a story about a monster born evil. This is the story of how Adolf Hitler became Adolf Hitler. And why understanding him is more important than ever. Because history doesn't repeat itself. It waits for people to forget. Stay with me till the end, because the most disturbing part of this story is not what he did. It's how easily it could happen again. Adolf Hitler was born in 1889 in Austria. Not into greatness. Not into wealth. Not into power. He was an average child, quiet, insecure, and deeply obsessed with art. His dream was simple. He wanted to be a painter. He believed art would give his life meaning. But that dream was crushed. Twice, he applied to the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts. Twice, he was rejected. Those rejections didn't just disappoint him, they broke him. Hitler fell into poverty. He slept in shelters. He struggled to survive. And instead of asking himself how he could improve, he began asking a far more dangerous question: who is responsible for my failure? That question slowly poisoned his mind. He began to believe the world had wronged him. That society had cheated him. And once a person fully accepts the idea that they are a victim of injustice, it becomes easy to search for enemies. Hitler didn't see his failures as personal. He saw them as proof that someone else was to blame. This mindset, victimhood mixed with entitlement, is where many destructive leaders are born. Hitler was not a great academic thinker. He wasn't a scientist or a strategist in the traditional sense. But he possessed something far more dangerous. He deeply understood human emotion. He understood fear. He understood anger. He understood humiliation. After World War I, Germany was broken. The economy collapsed. Jobs disappeared. People were starving. National pride was destroyed. Citizens felt ashamed and powerless. And Hitler recognized an opportunity. He didn't offer complex solutions. He didn't talk about patience or reform. He offered something much more powerful: someone to blame. He told people they were not suffering because they failed. They were suffering because they had been betrayed. He spoke with absolute certainty. He never doubted himself. And people don't follow truth, they follow confidence. Especially when they are desperate. Hitler's speeches were not accidents. He rehearsed obsessively. He practiced his gestures, his pauses, his tone. He studied how crowds reacted. He began calmly, almost softly. Then he slowly built emotion. And finally, he exploded with passion. His words didn't inform people, they made them feel. And when people feel understood, they stop questioning. That is the trap. Hate was introduced slowly. First as frustration. Then as anger. Then as justification. Violence didn't appear suddenly. It was normalized step by step. Evil rarely arrives screaming. It arrives convincing. Contrary to popular belief, Hitler did not take power by force at first. He used the system. Elections. Laws. Promises. Many believed they could control him. They believed he was useful. They believed he would stabilize the country. They were wrong. Once he gained power, he dismantled opposition. He controlled the media. He silenced critics. Fear replaced freedom. And by the time people realized the truth, it was already too late. This is one of the most important lessons of history. Dictators don't suddenly appear. They are invited by desperation. The consequences were catastrophic. World War II erupted. Over 60 million people died. Cities were reduced to ashes. Families were erased. And then came the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were murdered. Along with millions of others, disabled people, political opponents, minorities. Entire generations were traumatized. All of this happened not because one man hated, but because millions stopped questioning him. Because belief replaced truth. Hitler is dead. But the methods he used are not. Fear still works. Blame still works. The idea of us versus them still works. Blind loyalty still works. That is why this story matters. Not to remember him, but to recognize the signs. The real danger is not one man. The real danger is when people stop thinking and start following. If this story made you uncomfortable, that's good. Because comfort is how history repeats itself. Remembering history is not about the past. It's about protecting the future.